Okay. So one variety within crocodiles. Okay, one variety within crocodile, and they are river dwelling and perennial rivers, and they are fish eater. Normally they will be living, normally you will find gharial in a clean river with sand banks. Okay, so sometime they will come out of the river and will rest in the sand bank. Okay, that is where particularly you will find them in Chambal sanctuary, and now through Chambal we are, so much construction is going on. So Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, in the Chambal belt in Rajasthan we used to have, okay, that is there. And in a small population earlier was even in the Son, Gandak, Hooghly, Ghagra river. It met with extinction completely in Myanmar, Pakistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and very few are left in India. It is one of the critically endangered reptile in India, gharial. Okay. Then we have, we have Batagur baska. Batagur baska. You can, it's almost like a tortoise, okay, but a very different one, right? A very different one. Many a times we call them four-toed, right? Four-toed river terrapin. Four-toed river terrapin. Okay. So that is how, or you can say river terrapin, and again you will find them in freshwater rivers and freshwater lakes, and you will find them in, earlier they were found even in Bangladesh, even in Nepal, but nowadays, Indonesia, Cambodia, but nowadays from most other countries they have they extinct. In India, very, very few left. Okay, very, very few left. And, basically they are Batagur baska, they are, being hunted for eggs, because their egg is considered a delicacy, and it is the symbol of purchasing power if somebody is having, the egg of Batagur baska. Okay, so four-toed river terrapin. This is one of the endangered, critically endangered reptile. Then is red crowned roof turtle. Red crowned roofed turtle. It is known as Batagur, Batagur kachuga. Many times Batagur kachua turtle. Batagur kachuga. Okay. So you will find them in India and Nepal, but water development projects have led to different things which are there. Okay. So Rohini is asking, don't ask me what is the difference between alligator and crocodile. Okay, and how is gharial not magar? All that, they will have difference in their fooding habit, their weight, their length, okay, their teeth, their hunting style is different, size is different, okay, size is different. And yesterday I told you, okay, that within the species variability on account of genetical makeup. So whether it is a crocodile or whether it is a alligator, or in India what is found is gharial, okay. So you will find a lot of difference in their size, weight, physical bearing, appearance, hunting, fooding habit, okay, preference, nesting, resting, breeding preference, all such things. So differences are there. Okay. Anyway, and that those differences are on account of genetical makeup, genetical makeup. Anyway, so critically endangered, right? Critically endangered reptiles. Okay. Some critically endangered fish also, because in this list we have 3. So I am not going to tell you. You know, I would like you, in the material we have given, I would like you to go through the material, but since most of the time they are asking from critically endangered fish, if you see, when it comes to critically endangered fish, on which they have already asked a question, the Pondicherry shark, the Pondicherry shark, you will find them in Indian Ocean, particularly from Gulf of Oman to Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka. Okay. Earlier they were found, but their number has gone down. But nowadays, little bit of it we find at the mouth of Hooghly River, okay, mouth of Hooghly River. And only thing what has led to the significant decline in the population of Pondicherry shark is unregulated fishing. Okay, unregulated fishing. So while fishermen they are going, while fishermen, you know, they are going for fishing, they are not able to make much distinction. Okay, they are not able to, you know, they are not able to make much distinction between the different types of fish, and sometimes they are hunting even Pondicherry shark. Okay, so this is one. Then the Ganges shark. Ganges shark, and there is no need for me to tell you, as far as river Ganga is concerned, the kind of pollution which is increasing in Ganga water, this river is heading towards ecological death, and this is the reason why you will find that the river has reported very significant decline in its biodiversity, including the population for the Ganges shark. And one of the reason why, I hope you know, in Ganga what we have done, we have dammed the river at many places. Not only we have dammed, but we have put the net, fishing net across the river from one bank to another bank. Okay, one bank to another bank. Rohini is saying, sir, don't think my question is irrelevant. Actually, I have confusion. No, I am not saying that you don't have confusion, but you know, it's very difficult to tell you about all wildlife in India. Okay, if I start telling you the difference between lion and tiger, and between you know, Russian tiger and the Royal Bengal tiger, and between African elephant and the, you know, wild Asiatic elephant, then it will be very difficult if I tell you what is the difference between Pondicherry shark and the Ganges shark. Okay, so if you have a special interest, definitely you can look for the details in some of the wildlife, you know, documentaries, or even on internet. Okay, but from our exam point of view, we just need to have this understanding about IUCN categorizations. Within categorization, the threatened list, within threatened list, the 3 subcategories: critically endangered, endangered, and vulnerable. And last updation of red data book has taken place in March 2019, in which we have 1,16,000 species, and some of the species are in critically endangered, many of them are in endangered, and most of them are in vulnerable. Okay, so very few are included in critically endangered, and I am telling you those which are critically endangered from India. So critically endangered fish from India includes Pondicherry shark, it includes the Ganges shark, it also includes large tooth sawfish, large tooth sawfish. Okay, so these are some of the species from India as per 2019, as per 2019 edition of Red Data Book or Red List included in critically endangered. Okay, in material, I would just like you to read page number, are almost you will find that 6-7 pages we have given, including all important species in the Red Data Book of 2019 from India. So it will also include which are the endangered aquatic mammals, which are the endangered mammals, which are the vulnerable mammals, which are the endangered, birds, which are vulnerable birds from India. But in the class, I thought that once I should tell you critically endangered mammals, birds, reptile and fish, or the species which are in critically endangered. Okay, so that is there. Paras Sharma is saying, can you tell me the critically endangered in the bird list? Okay, so in the bird list, I have told you this. Spoon-billed sandpiper. Yes. All of you. So have you got, right? Have you got this IUCN? Have you understood IUCN? Yes or no? Tell me. All of you, yes or no? IUCN, very important. India is a member country. You should remember, Indian government became the member of IUCN in which year? 1969. And we have become the member through which government agency? Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And this organization is playing a very, very important role. Okay, this organization is playing a very, very important role as far as conservation is concerned. And whenever they will publish the report, then people are more interested in looking into the green pages in the report, and they are also equally interested in looking into the pink pages. So when it comes to Red Data Book pink page, so pink page will include the name of species which are critically endangered. Okay, so pink page will actually list the critically endangered species. Critically endangered species. Okay, and green pages will include, there is a separate annexure in the form of green pages. Okay, so green pages will include those species which were earlier threatened, but now the species have recovered because of the commitment shown by the government and the environmentalists and the people, and the taxa has moved from threatened category to outside threatened, means it's no more threatened, then such species are included in the list of green page. Okay, so once in prelims they have asked this question also. So pink page, list of critically endangered species, and green page in Red Data Book, the taxa which was earlier threatened but has now recovered to an extent that it is no longer threatened. Okay, it is no longer threatened. So the taxa or the species which were earlier in the Red Book but is no more in the Red Book in the latest edition, they are separately mentioned in green pages as an annexure. Okay, so always we want more and more species in green pages and less species in pink pages when this report is published, when the report is published. Have you understood IUCN? Tell me yes or no, all of you. Have you understood IUCN? Yes, all of you. Have you understood IUCN? Very, very important, right? Very, very important. So once you have understood IUCN, okay, then I would just like you to have this understanding. As far as India is concerned, India is one of the mega biodiverse country in the world. Okay, so India is one of the mega biodiverse country in the world. India is one of the mega biodiverse country in the world. Okay, and why India is one of the mega biodiverse country in the world? You know very well our geographical location. Yesterday when we were talking about the global distributional pattern of biodiversity, I told you that as we move from, right, as we move from equator towards the pole, there is a general decline in biodiversity. And since there is a general decline in biodiversity, so tropical countries or countries which are near equator, they are more diverse in comparison with high latitude country. So India by and large being a tropical country or a low latitude country is having exceptionally high biodiversity. Okay, so you should keep on jotting down the key points. India is one of the mega biodiverse countries in the world. India is one of the mega biodiverse country in the world. India's geographical location. Okay, India's geographical location. By and large, right, by and large, you will find most, half of our country is in tropical belt, some part of our country is in temperate belt, and it's not only about our geographical location, but we also have, high hills, snow-capped peaks of mountain, perennial rivers, dense forest, okay, perennial rivers, dense forest. We have deserts, we have plateau, we have coastline, we have mangrove forest, we have deltaic plain, we have river valleys, we have Tarai belt, okay, we have seasonal rivers, we have man-made lakes, we have all type of lakes. We have saltwater lakes, we have lagoons, we have wetlands, we have marshy tract of land. Okay, we have marshy tract of land. And this is the reason why, India is one of the mega biodiverse country in the world. And this is what I will discuss in the next class, okay, but in detail. But I just want you to remember that approximately 24.56% geographical area of India right, is under forest cover or is with tree cover. Forest plus tree cover. So 24.56% geographical area of India is under forest cover and tree cover. So very diverse geography, topography, with with snow-capped, one of the loftiest and youngest chain of mountain along our northern boundaries. We have very vast stretch of coastline. We have islands, proximity to equator. significant part in the tropical belt, perennial rivers, 24.56% geographical area of India under forest and tree cover. We also have desert. We in India have cold desert as well as hot desert, very large hot desert. We have deltaic plain, plateau. All these makes India one of the mega biodiverse country in the world. Let me put it like this. India accounts for 2.4% of world's land area. Okay, India accounts for 2.4% of world's land area, but India accounts for, India accounts for more than 8% of the known global biodiversity. 8% of known global biodiversity. 8% of the known global biodiversity. Have you understood this? Not only this, right? Not only this. What I would just like you to remember, that 2011 to 2020, 2011 to 2020, this was declared by United Nations as United Nations Decade on Biodiversity. Decade on Biodiversity. And during this United Nations Decade on Biodiversity, India played leadership role, as far as global efforts to conserve the biodiversity, protect the biodiversity is concerned. Okay, to global and Indian efforts to preserve, protect and conserve the biodiversity is concerned. Okay, so 2.4% of, 2.4% of world's land area, but 8% of world's known global biodiversity. India accounts for 8% of world known, biodiversity. Not only this, not only this, I would just like you all to even remember this, even remember this, that there is a organization in the world, very well known organization, like-minded, mega diverse countries of the world. Many a times we see LMMC also, LMMC. So 17 countries are there, 17 countries are there in this. Okay, and most of these countries are Afro-Asian, South American countries near equator in the tropical belt, and together these 17, 18 countries accounts for 70% of the global known biodiversity, including India, including India. So we are, we are one of the mega biodiverse country in the world. We are one of the mega biodiverse country in the world. We are member country. We have also been the president of this organization. Okay, we have also been the president of this organization. Okay, we have also been the president of this organization. Like-minded, mega diverse, countries of the world, which together, 17 of us together accounts for 70% of the global known biodiversity. Okay, 70% of global known biodiversity. If you see India, if you see India, we lie in, we lie in Indo-Malaya eco-zone. So eco-zoning has been done, and India lie completely, mostly in Indo-Malaya eco-zone. And while we are lying in this Indo-Malaya eco-zone, if we see, right? If we see, I would just like you to have this awareness. I am giving you fact. You have every right to forget. Okay. But I want you that if we put in one category species, okay, species, and if we see India, we see world, okay, and we see percentage in India. Okay, so in this, so if you see all mammals on planet Earth, okay, all species which belong to which category? Mammals. Then in the world, four known species, if we see known to science, 4,629 different mammal species are known to science in the world. Out of this, 350 of them are in India, meaning India accounts for 7.6% of all mammalian diversity. Okay, all mammalian diversity. Similarly, if you see for birds, okay, so in the world you will find 9,702 different variety or species of known birds, and out of that, out of that 1,224 of them are found in India, and India accounts for 12.6%, okay, 12.6% of avian diversity. Bird diversity is known as avian, AVIAN, avian diversity of the world. 7.6% of mammalian diversity of the world. Okay. Then if you see reptiles, if you see reptiles, then you will find that in the world 6,550 different species or varieties of reptiles. Out of those, 408 of them are found in India, and India accounts for 6.2% of reptilian diversity. Okay, reptilian diversity. Similarly, right, similarly, if we go further, amphibians, which can stay on land and water both, amphibians. Now, in the world, 4,522 different variety of amphibians, are found. Out of that, 197 of them are found in India, and thus India accounts for 4.4% of amphibians diversity. Okay. When it comes to fish, and in India we have sea coast and perennial rivers and lakes, ponds, big water bodies, salt lakes, backwaters, swampy area, marshy tract of land, and all such things are there.